On the Edge. Welcome to On the Edge, a podcast about table tennis and, that little white ball that goes so fast. I'm Marie Migo, a professional table tennis player, and I want to put the spotlight on the personalities involved in the sports and share the stories. Whether they are players, trainers, coaches, therapists, or even more, I'm letting their voices guide us through their careers, their difficulties, and their differences. Yes, I deeply believe that each of us has something unique to give. So get ready to open your ears wide and bon voyage!
She made me feel good about myself. She helped me really to accept that all those weaknesses which I thought I have are actually my strength. To remind everybody, like boys, girls in every age, or men, women in every age, that own yourself, own who you are, because the world worships when you're individual. But back then, being different was like such a horrible thing that nobody wanted to be. Like fitting in was the primary goal of every teenager or every person who's there.
Hello, Eric. Welcome to On the Edge. Normally, I call you Mookie, but I will let you introduce yourself that you can tell me like how I should call you. So welcome.
Hello. I want to say in French now, but no. Hello, we're in English.
Yeah, normally we speak French together. So, are you happy to be on the edge?
I am so honored to be here. Oh my God. Yes, I'm so happy. I
All
mean,
right, cool.
we know each other for so long now, so it feels just like talking with you. It's just like catching up. So
Yeah, we will have a nice discussion, I guess. I know you since WSA, so it was in Austria. So that was like 10 years ago.
10 years, maybe 8, 9 years, yeah.
Yeah, and we lived together for few months in the same flat.
Yes.
So yeah. So first, before, can you just tell us a bit who you are? Um, you can
Yes.
introduce yourself on the way you want.
Okay. So my name is Erik Glod. I'm 31 years old at the moment, and I'm from Luxembourg originally, but I haven't lived in Luxembourg for like 12 years now. I lived in Germany, Denmark, Sweden, Austria, where I am currently living as well. And I'm a professional table tennis player still, and I'm doing also like I'm transitioning to become a coach. Like that's my long-term goal.
Yeah, so you are still playing, right? In the club?
Yes, in
All
the
right.
first Austrian Bundesliga, and yeah, it's still
Yeah,
going good. So
good. Um, I've I've watched a video of you recently on your Instagram page, where it really touched my being. Like looking at you talking like that, I think I invite people watching that. It's on your Instagram page. It's really amazing. Where you speak also about how you are a perfectionist guy. You felt like you were not being enough. Can you tell us like for what it was and why you did that video?
I have to go back a bit because all started when I. So first of all, I'm gay. Like no surprise. If people know me, they should know that as well. And when like 2 years ago, I decided to be more vocal about this and be more visible with my sexuality because I felt the world is not that place that I imagined it to be. It's not as open as I thought it would be. Friends of mine got attacked, like for being queer, and this just shook me. And was this wake up call where I said like, okay, if that's the world we live in, where still people are getting attacked for who they are, then I should try to make a difference. That's when I started to talk about my sexuality more openly, and also at the games of the small states of Europe, which is like a tournament where only the like Malta, Luxembourg, Cyprus, just like the really small states are competing. I was able to be the flag bearer, so I was walking in with the Luxembourgish flag, and I decided to paint the rainbow flag on my cheek
Oh, that's
to
so
make
cool.
a statement. Yes,
I didn't know. Okay.
yeah, and many like it was like a little bit of a controversy because it's a sports game, sports competition should be apolitical, but I did it anyways. They also let me do it. The Luxembourgish Olympic Committee, they were supportive. So I did that, and then it was like a whole buzz because out of it. In Luxembourg, I was like suddenly in all the newspapers because of that, not because of my sport, because of my sexuality, and it was really weird, but it was what I wanted to happen. It sparked a discussion, and so last year, the Ministry of Equal Rights, I
Yeah.
guess, called in English, I don't know, and they came up to me and asked, "Hey, we want to make they want to show visibility and a sense of
Yes.
that sport is inclusive and is there for everybody." So they came up to me and asked me if I want to be a face of this visibility advertisement thing, and of course I agreed because I was hoping to make another impact in especially Luxembourgish sports culture because up until then there was never a discussion about um, inclusion on this level or like about sexuality, and just to get a chance to have an impact and to maybe change a little bit was like a huge motivation for me to get out there and
Yeah.
help them.
So, how did you feel when you recorded that video?
Oh, I was crying a lot because it was like the tears were, especially at the end, the tears were running down my face because it's very emotional for me to talk about this stuff because I don't know, it's such a big thing in my life, or like I only came out when I was about 20, so for like a long period of my whole adolescence, I was hiding this thing, like this dark secret I had, and still talking about it today is like, or nowadays, is just bringing up all those feelings of being wrong, like who I am, like not being accepted, or the fear of not being accepted, and the whole journey also which I took to become the person that I am now is when I look back, I could have never imagined that this could have happened. Like as an adolescent, I was just so different. I was so way more afraid, way more. I was holding back. I thought I could never be like open with who I am and stuff. So just that I am open to be that I am able to be open right now and do all those stuff and talk about also with you right now and this
It's
without crying.
amazing.
It's
Yeah.
like it's just it makes me proud, but it also gives me a lot to think about. So yeah.
Okay. So, I want to come back to the little Eric. Where did you grow up? Do you have any brothers, sisters? When did you start to play table tennis? Just to know a bit how was your environment when you were younger.
Mm.
I'm curious because actually I don't know. I have no idea.
Oh, really? We never
Yeah,
talk
I have
about
no
this.
idea.
Well, okay, so I grew up in a very small village in Luxembourg, in the north of Luxembourg. Like we had like around 300 inhabitants back then, so there were more
Wow.
cows than people.
I have it similar here as well, you know. I'm living also in a small city,
Yeah.
so I can relate a bit to that.
So it was very rural, very countryside. Um, my father was a farmer, or like still is, but he doesn't have any cows anymore. But yeah, he was producing milk, and my mother was a social worker, or like she was, yeah, like this in this area. And yeah, I have one brother, younger, 1.5 years. We're a little bit estranged. We're not that close because we're quite similar in many ways. We were quite competitive when we were younger, So there was a lot of tension just always between us. Either we loved each other very much or we were nemesis. There was nothing in
Yeah,
between. There was just not existing. There was just like pure love or pure like, okay, you're my arch nemesis.
yeah.
So right
And
now,
now
it's
it's
fine.
better?
Yeah, it's okay with him. Like when we see each other, we can easily talk, and I also think that he knows that if there's any problem, he can call me, and I would like jump on the next plane and go there. And I think it's the same way around. It's just he lives his life, and I think he's quite happy with what he's doing, and I'm living my life, and it's just not correlating so much or like colliding so much. But I still have huge respect for him. So.
Yeah. And so you were in the countryside. So how did you discover table tennis? How it came? Did you like sport in general, or were you more creative, or doing like, what were your hobby? I don't know how old you were in that
Yeah.
time, but until like 10 maybe. Can you tell us a bit like who you
Um,
felt, how you felt?
yeah. So even though I was the older brother, I was the quiet, shy one. I was like in my room reading, playing for myself, and my brother was the one who's pulling me outside and said, "No, let's climb that tree. Let's go like this to the woods and do that and that." So yeah, I was not sporty at all. I was just like I was very nerdy, more like
Okay.
that. And I came to table tennis because in first grade or second grade, the teacher told my mother that I am clumsy as fuck and
You can
that
say it.
I couldn't catch balls. I was like, I couldn't run without falling. It was very bad. Apparently, legend has it. And so they just told my mother that I have to do a sport to like get motorically like better. So because there was only football, which I was afraid to play football because the collision with the people and no, no, no. There was judo,
Oh, yeah.
also afraid of falling onto
Yeah.
no, no, no. And then there was only table tennis. There were not more sports in this where in the
Where
community where I
you
was
were.
living. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I started playing table tennis in school, in school sport, and I was not so good, I think, because the other legend has it that the teacher who did like or like the coach who was there after the first practice came to my mother and said like, yeah, I mean the boy can come, but he will
Oh
never
my
be like
god.
he will never be good or anything. So
Oh really? Oh my god.
yes,
So
so we were,
your mother told you that, or like
yeah, my mother later my mother told me
later?
that she didn't
Okay.
tell me immediately after,
Yeah.
but like like when I first became like Luxembourgish champion or something, or like before that, they told me this story, and I was just like, what the
Oh
hell?
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
but
And you enjoy to play, or like was it more that you had to play?
no, I think as it's an individual sport, and I was a very individual child. I didn't like to be like with other people. I really love to be alone at the table. That it was I was there. I could like play. I could focus on myself, and I could become better. Like, and I really still love this about table tennis even now. That first of all, it's when I win, it's my win. When I lose, it's my loss. Of course, there are external factors, but at the end, I'm the one who's. It comes back to me. And second of all, it's like you can improve. You can always improve. And I love this from the beginning in table tennis and up until now. There's always room for improvement, and you can actually it's so tangible, this improvement. So you can actually see what's going better, or what where you're like stagnating and you're not becoming better. And you can really just like go back to the table and try one more time and one more time. Maybe this ball go on the table this time. And that's what like grabbed me so much about table tennis and why I stayed with it, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And so then you moved to a bigger city, or how long did you stay in your countryside?
I stayed a long time in the countryside.
Oh
Like
really?
I was up until 16, I think. Yeah. Then I
16.
moved.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I moved to to Luxembourg City, the capital, to and I changed school to a sports school. So, but up until 16, I was only there. Okay, I made like um, training. I was training in Belgium sometimes because we had a Belgian coach, so he took us to stage. Oh my god, in
Yeah,
English,
training camp.
training camps. So I was seeing a little bit more than only my village,
Yeah, good.
but mostly, yeah, it was just there
Okay.
where I was living.
And how, like, did you feel like you had something different than others in that time? Like before 16 when you're in the countryside? Like maybe more sensitive or being more like individual as you said. Did you feel like the other people were different than you or not at all in that time?
I felt I was different from them. I felt it was not that they were different. I was made believe maybe, but I also felt this that I was the one who was like outside or out of it, and I hated it because like growing up, I was always the good child. I was the one who was had good like grades in school, who was polite, who was following the rules. So becoming aware that I am different, become and now I say different in a very positive way. I love to be different. I love everything different. But back then, being different was like such a horrible thing that nobody wanted to be. Like fitting in was the primary goal of every teenager or every person who's there. And I got like hammered this idea in my head by being different is bad. Like my grandmother said, her wording was always like do like other people do, then you will feel like other people do. And she said like, no, you gotta fit in, don't stick out, do what other people do. They are happy, you're gonna be happy. Stay on that track everybody was walking before. And so I was just like thinking, okay, don't be different. Do what everybody's doing. Party, go out to these fests or like to these parties there were, and drink your beer. You're not allowed to drink anything else. Drink beer, and you gotta do this. If you stay home, people think you're weird. No, go out. Force yourself to go out. It was not. It was a lot, just a lot, and I was just a version of myself. I was just like this version I produced out of those external voices I heard. They told me to be a certain way, so I adapted and I was a certain way. But oh, I was yeah, like I said before, I was so different and
But that creates so much conflict
yes,
internally, so much conflict.
yes,
That's so bad for like your well-being.
yes.
Yeah.
It was not great.
How did you feel in the sport environment when you moved to the bigger city? Like you went into the sports school, you started to train maybe with the like best player in Luxembourg. How did you feel in that time in table tennis?
In table tennis,
Yeah.
was always like a little bit of like a safe space for me before in when I was in the countryside because I had my group of friends in my club and we were all just a little bit different. Like some of them were more fitting in, but between them it was way safer. I felt better. But then when it came to to the national center and stuff, I felt way less good. I felt worse because there the heteronormative idea of yeah you gotta be tough and you're a man now and don't play like the women and don't just go inside and you gotta be this was way more dominant and so when I came there I also faced like bullying for being different while in the countryside I it was just like the the pressure which made me feel different. Now in the national center I felt I was just bullied for being different. I was the one from the north, I was a farmer, and then I was like just not as masculine and a little bit effeminated and this was enough for them to pick on me and just it was there was one summer camp. It was the worst time of my life. I think one of the worst
Okay.
times of my life.
So
So it was
you can pick like this time was one of the worst time of your life, like
yes,
this. Okay.
yes,
And how it's transcribed to your technique, because you said that they ask you to be like masculine and to go
yeah,
for, I don't know, maybe more for forehand to make toe spin and everything. But now if I watch you playing now today, your game is like you play like you are. And if I compare that also with WSA before, you play differently, and now you're expressive and you move like how I think you want to move and everything. So that's pure also creativity, and that's pure expression, self-expression. But in that time also I think the technique or everything was kind of in the box, like you have to do like everyone else, and that's physical thing. So it's even like you become like a clone to everyone. And yeah,
yeah,
that's I'm curious about that, about your game.
yeah. So it was back then. I was so um, occupied by who I am and my to not show any gayness and to not show anything. That was not even thinking about my table tennis. I was just like living a life of running, like um, playing hide and seek. And if somebody wanted to see me, I was running to the next hiding place. So my table tennis was much that. I was very, I was insecure about how I should play and stuff like this. So even though the coaches want me to play more hard and stuff like this, I had at the same time to practice a lot with Sarah, Tessie, Dani, all the girls in my age. And with them, of course, I was able to play like more like tuck tuck tuck, like girls table tennis, like in racket. But so it was like with them, I felt a little bit better about that I could be like who I am. But then again, I heard like from the boys, yeah, there's you like to play like a girl, you're like a girl and stuff. So it was like, no, I don't want to be like this. So I had to play hard again. So it was up and down. Sometimes I felt good. Sometimes I felt like, no, I have to change everything. And it was only up until when I started working with my sport psychologist when I was around 24 that I remember the first thing I told her was that I felt that I they want me to play a different way. Like it was always like I always took in the voices from outside and I tried to adapt to what they wanted to be or like to implement what they wanted to see in my table tennis. And only over the years is exactly what you said like I came to terms of who I am and what I like about table tennis and which strokes I like and which way I like to move. And now we're just thinking back to the last tournament, the national championships 2 weeks ago. It was actually the tournament I felt the most like me. I felt so like me in everything that I did in my game, in my around the table, in my warm up. It was just 100% me. And I don't care. I can slap a ball because I want to slap a ball, and I can spin slow with spin, and I can hammer a backhand, and it's just because it's me, because it's in the moment, and I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So it's there's the voices outside; they're blocked out, and I'm centered.
And that's much better. That's joy,
Much
that's creativity,
better.
that
Yes.
everything. I can also understand that because for some years I didn't play my game with my own personality, so it's on different way than yours. But I can relate to that, and I had even a chicken skin when you spoke about that. So
Oh,
thanks for the sharing, really. You said that your sports psychologist helped you when you were 24. So before that time, you didn't have anyone who could guide you or like to you could look up to really be yourself and help you like to feel better. Until 24 years old, you didn't have anyone.
no. Also 24, I think maybe 22 or 23. I can't remember when I started working with her, but long time ago. Like, and
So
no,
you always felt like alone in that.
yes, when I'm thinking back right now, you could call it alone. I was just on my own. My personality is also quite a lot of being on my own and a little bit lone wolf type of thing. it's not easy for me to let people like deep into my life, but I was especially with those doubts about myself. I was completely alone. Of course, I could talk to some of my friends and stuff, and they try to give and they say something, but it was not. It was only surface level. When you deep in my core, I was shaken all the time. There was a constant earthquake happening, and it was on the surface. It looked like it was calm, but inside it was always. I remember I had anger outbursts a lot. Like sometimes I just in practice I was like smashing my blade. I was destroying my blade because I was not satisfied at how it goes, and I was I was bottling up my emotions. Then everything burst out completely. I was like sometimes choleric, I would say, and really like unbalanced. And up,
Unbalanced,
and I
yeah.
yeah, and I really had nobody. She helped me so much. When I'm thinking back right now, she helped me so much
For
to
example,
like.
like what did she tell you like that you feel better? Like what was the main points? Maybe not in detail. Maybe this is very personal, but
I think the main point was that just to feel good about myself and to accept that I don't have to be, like you say, I don't didn't have any role models. So everything that I saw was in male table tennis. Yeah, you go in, you play topspin, bam, 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 and you have got to be tough, and you're not crying, and you like be like a little bit like you show your muscles, and this is the idea of manlyhood that I had in my head, and I always knew I was not fitting that image. So she helped me to accept about myself that I'm softer, that I have all those emotions, that I need this time alone, that I do not have to be with my team all the time. That it's okay to take a walk on my own, to listen to some music and to stuff. That it's okay. That she helped me to find outlets like writing and being creative to channel those emotions. She made me feel good about myself. She helped me really to accept that all those weaknesses which I thought I have are actually my strength.
yeah, yeah. Ah, that's cool.
Yes.
Thank you for sharing. It's very like because you know you've done the work on yourself. Like you know yourself very very good, so you can go very deep in some stuff. I think you will still go deeper and deeper and discover maybe some new things all the time. But that's already something like huge. So thanks. Um, I will ask you another question which have nothing to do with that now, but to come back to maybe more on like grounded things and to have maybe an easier question to answer. Are you ready for that? Because it's a really it has nothing to do with anything
Yes,
we
let's go.
spoke.
Let's go.
But let's go into the positive mode, and I want to ask you what's your best memory in table tennis, like as a result when you felt like proud of being like in the Luxembourg team and that you felt like okay, like I'm here, I have my place, and I'm showing like I can also win some big matches, or like that feeling.
Um, I think the first one that comes to mind is 2017, the World Team Championship in Kuala Lumpur in
Yeah.
Malaysia. It was we played like the men's team. We played Division Three. It was like down in this tent outside.
Yeah.
It
Yes,
was
true.
wild. I was wild. I remember we walked inside the hall, which was literally a tent with this
It was
purple flooring.
yeah.
The one side of the tent was cold as a fridge. The other one was steaming hot. It was like two worlds. It was wild. But
Toilets were outside also.
yeah, the toilets were like Dixie toilets outside. It was like really, really good. And but leading up to that, we had like an preparation camp in Singapore, and there already everything felt so organic. Like the whole team felt like so together. and I never felt this before. So this was the first time Luca was there, like on the World Championships. Dani, Tessie, Sarah was there, and then Gilles and Tyan from the men's team, and we just felt like really like a group. We were sticking together. The chemistry was on point. So going to Malaysia, we saw this tent and we just laughed and we said, okay, it's gonna be such a fight and a battle. And it was so nice. The women's were also playing in those tents. They were playing Division Two, and we just the tournament happened and we started winning against USA. And Luca beat Kanak back then. It was a big win and a big upset. And then we continued winning and we won and we won and we won. And the women's were winning at the same time. And just we pushed each other to those heights. And it was just amazing. And at the end, both of our teams like managed to go up the division. Like we won the division. We won Division 3. I have this medal still. And I didn't lose a single match. I think I won 12 matches out of all of my matches. And I beat some really good players. And it was just like the one of those moments I will always remember because it was just so beautiful. And the women's we won our final, and then we ran over to the women's and we watching their decided match, and we were cheering all together. And it was just this was such a fantastic moment for me, but also for the whole team. And we knew, okay, we're doing something good here. We're doing something right.
Yeah, great. Um, you also, when you started to open yourself, to be okay with yourself, did you feel like it also impacted the other people, maybe your teammates? Like you feel like the synergy was better?
Yes, I I think when I talk with people about how it was before opening up and stuff, they most of them say that they could feel I was holding back something. I was just like a muffled version of myself, like blurred version. And when I opened up and came out, and I think this image, not only for them but also for me, became much more clearer, and I had more contours, and it sharpened who I am. So during this whole process, I think they were part of me. I was always on tournaments with them, like with Tessie and Sarah and Luca and stuff. So I think, they could really like see how I was becoming more and more me, and they were always like, it's crazy that they were during that part of my life. They were the people who saw me the most. I did the most with, and this bond between us grew so tense and so thick. Like even when the last 4 years the national team were just like difficult, that when our coach got kicked out, and then federation wanted to put us in our place and stuff, and some things with other coaches happened with Tessie and stuff. So we were there for each other. We were sticking up for each other. We were speaking up for each other, and this is because we have this deep friendship, just because we went through so much together. And yeah, I really love them so much for who they are, and that they accepted me, and that they were just open for me to change. And they were, every time I told them, oh no, I found out this and this, they were like, yes, come on, yeah, go out and try. And they were just they were the biggest cheerleaders I could have back then. Yeah.
Ah, so good,
Yeah.
cheerleader. That's so cute.
Yeah.
That's so good. You said that you came from the countryside and now you are living in Vienna. And you told me that no way you come back to the countryside because your life, you feel it's really in this city and in this energy atmosphere. So how that maybe city energy and community that you've met in Vienna, how did it help you to be happy? Are you happy today?
I am happy today. Yes. Um, it's just about community, I think, to find people to find same-minded people, like-minded people you can talk to about things which are bothering you, like queer things or something like this. But Vienna is just a very open city, queer friendly city, diverse city, and it's like a really melting pot of cultures and influences, and you find the very traditionalist people, but also very innovative and avant-garde people. And this I love so much. It offers you this whole variety, and that's who I am as a person. I'm also like I'm very broad interests, like goes from like sport, table tennis, back to art, and I love film and stuff like this. So Vienna offers me all that, and then just the people I found really also really good friends here, like who has gone through similar things that I did, and who understand me in a level that that straight people might never understand. They can listen and they can say, "Wow, this was it must have been hard," but you must have gone through this period of like self-loathing and hatred and thinking you're completely wrong to know what it makes with you, or what it's like put which weight it puts on you.
I found it hard to find real friends. I'm I think I'm also a bit different in some way. I've lived life, a full life also, with many ups and a lot of downs. So it's hard for me to open completely to the people like that they can see really who I am.
Yeah.
I can have easy feeling with people like nice, it's but it's stayed not on the deep level,
Yes.
you know. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out or like to maybe put away
Some
some
barriers.
walls,
Yeah.
yeah, some barriers. So I
Yeah.
think like you found also that in
Yeah.
Vienna.
I found it, but it's funny because just 3 weeks ago I was with my friends, and we love to just go deep talk. Like it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and we start to play a game like about questions, and we have to answer each other what we see in each other and stuff like this. And there was one thing that they told me that sometimes they feel that they know me very well, but still they feel like they're walls. These walls are still up, and that it's hard for them to get me completely. And so even though I feel like I've come a long way in opening up and sharing, it's still like it's not the easiest thing to just be always like this. And I don't think you have to be. It's in this candid moments, in these moments where you are like one to one, like your closest friends together, that you should try to really let all your guards down and just like to share, and to for those moments just like really show them your deepest fears and your deepest joys, because sometimes you forget what they are, but your friends bring out of you, and I think that's the most important. And you don't have to do this with like 20 people, but if you have like this few who can do this, who can like tickle you and just like make you open up completely, it's like the most important thing, I think.
It's nice, yeah. But in this table tennis world, it's very close world. Everybody know each other. But at the same time, I found table tennis people like crazy people also. You know, it's different world than normal world. Um, how, like, did you like being? Do you like being in this world? Or did you like or? Uh, I mean, maybe you needed that as well. You know, it's as you said, you like different worlds and living in at the
Mm.
different places. But what was your place into that world?
I didn't find I don't know. Let's to speak like in images. If table tennis is this world, is this bubbly city, like with everybody interacting and talking about table tennis, I feel like I live in the outskirts, like that I can go in and be part of it, but I need to go out. So, and I always felt like a little bit of just not completely immersed in it. But I never felt like as a complete athlete. I'm not like a picture perfect athlete that people say, oh, this is like, look at him, he's doing this and this, and like he's such a good athlete. I always just felt like I'm doing it my way. And that's what I learned also, like that it's okay to do it my way. I don't have to be in the hall 24/7. if I'm in the hall like one time per day, it's also okay. And if there's a need to go out and see friends like who are not involved into table tennis, then this is my way of being professional because I know what makes me perform the best at the end. And if that's not serving for another 2 hours, then it's not serving for another 2 hours. I still put in the work, but I put in the work like in different ways. So, and as I got more and more into professional table tennis, as I became professional, I noticed that but this idea of like, work hard, go tap, pump, pump, and one more time footwork and stuff, this is the dominant idea. Like maybe it is changing, I feel, but
A
back
bit,
then,
yeah.
like 6, 7 years ago, it was the dominant idea.
Yeah.
And I always felt like, okay, if that's how it is, then this is going to be tough for me. And I tried, and I broke down, and I felt it's definitely not for me. And then I changed again, and I changed, came back to Vienna, and now I'm being professional on my own terms, and it's working great.
Yeah. Ah, it's cool. So you find your own way of practicing and loving the sport and play like how you want to play and be happy in that.
Yeah,
It looks like that.
yeah.
How
And
it feels?
I
No,
really
you.
love the sport. I really love
Yeah.
the sport.
Yeah. I also love it, but it feels.
Yeah, of course you have those moments. I've kept it. Of course, I
Yes.
also have moments where I feel like, mother of God, what am I doing here? But at the moment, like this whole season, I just felt like I really enjoyed. I enjoyed practicing. I enjoyed matches. I'm just at this. I made my peace with the sport. Before I was like struggling. I was fighting against it sometimes. Now I just let it take me to wherever I go.
Ah,
If it's
that's
going
good.
that way, I accept it and I just do my best going that way. And I try to be more like in a flow with it.
Yeah. And you are showing your hands together and you are dancing with that. And that's perfect.
Yes.
Pity we don't have video, but guys, I can see that,
Oh.
Mookie is going with the flow. Like Brit. This is for Brit. And now you became a coach with all your experience, because you have quite an intense experience. Uh, what you want to give to the kids that you are coaching? What's the main thing, like you say, okay, I want to give that to those kids because they deserve that?
I think what I'm mostly concerned with the children when I work with children is to not make to give them the feeling that they don't have to fit inside a certain system, that they are allowed to play the way they want, like to enjoy their table tennis, to find their table tennis and become the best possible player they're able to become. To just table as we talked before, table tennis is always like also personality growth. It's always like finding your game, enjoying your table tennis. You don't to not play like other people tell you to play, but to find which strokes feel the most genuine to you, which come easy to you, and then implement this in your matches and win the matches with your strengths. And this is what I think is, of course, teaching forehand topspin, backhand topspin, and footwork is important, but also like I think the players who play the best in the European system are those who like feel the best about themselves and who feel
Yeah.
the most like them. I mean, Truls is like a prime example of that, who is like so him at the table with all his quirks and weird chops, but also with his emotions and
I love it.
with being angry. And of course, sometimes when he's throwing his racket, I'm like, okay, you don't have to do it, but it's him. At the end, it's him, and he feels it and he lets it out. And this is like so nice to see that now we go in a direction where like it's allowed again to be like you at the table. And this is what I want to give the kids, like to teach them that be you, accept your that you're afraid of things, affect that you're happy about things, love those. If you play like with spin from behind, love that, implement in your game, do it. If you like to be forward and block, do that. Just
Be you.
be you. Yeah.
And last question, Mookie. Um, if you would give well, it's the question like I ask all the time, because for me it's such a deep question and it has deep meaning. But what you would say to the younger Mookie, if you are now, and because that can help the small Mookie but also the other small kids, not only you but the other people. So what you would tell him with the life you had then?
Oh, I could go in a monologue for an hour now.
Yeah.
So many things I want to tell this little boy.
Boy.
um, I would just, first of all, I would love to hug him and just to say, and just to give him a moment of like where he feels okay to be, where he feels like I don't have to say so much even. Just like this moment where he feels it's okay to just exist and just to be him and make him feel like he's okay, he's good as he is. This is what I would do first. And then I would say like stop thinking about everybody else so much. Like of course it's a nice thing of you that you want to make your grandparents happy and you want to make your mother proud and your club proud and you want to be it's actually a nice thing that you want to do this, but do not forget about yourself. Do not forget about your own happiness. Like just do that, but do it in a frame where you can still be you and you can still be with the people you want to be, and don't waste your adolescence trying to be with girls when you actually fancy your teammates and just ask him out, and because people won't will accept you anyways, and if they are not, then they are definitely not meant to be in your life. And of course it's easier to say now than then because you're under like I said, these voices who tell you no, you have to be like this. But just just try just try at least to be a little bit more you, because nothing bad will happen. Tomorrow will come anyways, and there are people and all these people around me. I know they all they said when I came out, why did you tell us? There's no problem with it. And my mother told me this, and even my father was like, yeah, it's okay, though he was like quite the farmer and stuff like this. And if my grandparents wouldn't have spoken with me anymore, then yeah, it would have been sad, I think. But at least I could have had like my first love or something as a teenager, as everybody else had, which I didn't have, which sucks. Don't waste your years, you know.
Thank you, Mookie. Oh my god, it says like crying. Yeah,
I
so
could
good.
cry as well. If
Ah,
I
yeah,
go
yeah,
deeper, I
yeah,
could
yeah.
cry as well,
I
but I
had,
do
I
not
had,
cry
I had
today.
the tear. I had the tear. Thank you. Oh my god, that is so profound. Wow. I hope, uh, I hope they will like it, because that's a huge episode. Thank you, Mookie.
You're
Really.
welcome, Marie. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
having me and for letting me
Yes.
share this
Yes.
story. A
Yeah,
little bit
that's a
about
nice
table
story.
tennis, a lot about life.
Yes, but combined together, that's
Yeah,
it makes it better.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome. But what I think people think always about when I tell those stories or like when I share things, you have to be queer to be like this, or you have to relate to something. And yes, like I said before, sometimes you have to relate to relate to certain feelings you have as a person. But the thing about being yourself and stuff, it can be it's for everybody,
Everybody.
and
Yeah,
that's the
sure.
most important thing. It's not about you have to be not fitting a norm to be like, oh, you have to be yourself and you have to open up for being queer or like own your skin color, own your origin. No, it's for everybody. We all are like quirky and different in some ways, and that's what often people forget, and that's what I often feel like boys have in that age, that they still fall into this thinking they have to fit the frame because they say then, but you are gay or something. Yeah, but okay, yes, but still, you are also not like fitting every norm, and you still maybe don't like cars while men should love cars. And I think it's important to remind everybody, like boys, girls in every age, or men, women in every age, that own yourself, own who you are, because the world worships when you're individual. It doesn't
But
have to.
it's so not common still now from my own community that people are going deep into their own stuff, you know. Like still there is this fake picture around them, and I think that's so important for you, for the relationships you create with the people, for everything, you know. It's for life. I like when the people open up about themselves fully, and that they are trying to be better for themselves, you know. And that's still not rare. But if you take the my dad's age, you know, like he's around 50 years old, uh, that generation is a bit late compared to maybe our generation, which is now digging a bit, I think, deeper than it was before.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
But you're right. The more honest you are with yourself, the more honest relationships you can create with other people. Because when we meet each other like masked down and face to face with all our feelings and emotions and fears and hopes, we see each other and we can relate to each other, because at the end we all have fear. We all are the same to a certain extent. Maybe it shows different ways, but it comes down to the same emotions, and we can always like relate to each other if we are like honest about it.
Yeah. Muki, I didn't ask you who you would like to hear in the podcast next.
Oh my god, I was thinking about this. Like, I was listening to Matti's episode, and I was like, at the end, this question.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So I played for. I had two people, I think. I played for Denmark not for Denmark, in Denmark, for the club B75, and their founder Lars Rokia. He's very much about this idea of personal growth and like helping to become a better version of you. So he's, I think, very interesting to talk about, to talk with. And then the other person as a player, honestly, even though it seems biased, I think Luka Mladenovic,
Yeah, yeah, sure.
because as an anti-top player, he's so unique in his style. And second of all, I have so much respect for him. He has come such a long way, and he's such an incredible, kind person who is also like shaped a very unique
Yeah.
way of being and playing, and his story of where he comes to where he is now is also like very very inspiring to me.
I will do that. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Marie.
Have a good life.
Yeah, thank you. I try my best. That's all we can do.